What did you want to talk about today, Holly?
Well, I just wanted to say hi and chat with one of my favorite writers, Jerry
Like what?
Stahl.
Like, right?
Oh, that's very nice of you to say.
You writing these days? What are you working on?
So I am I'm not working on my memoir right now because it's with my agent and it's going to go out on submission in September. Uh, and you named my memoir, so you know about that.
Refresh my memory.
Scary, Beautiful.
There you go. Right.
Yes. And I'm working on my Substack, and I'm kind of working on a novel, but it's like a secret.
You have a first sentence?
I have written like 5 chapters.
Yeah, but you have a first sentence.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Playing it close. I understand. That's good.
What are you working on?
I got a collection I'm finishing up. It's coming out next year sometime, and I got a novel coming out in 27.
What's it called?
The novel?
Yeah,
Bad Sex in the Afterlife.
that's right. Best title
Yeah.
ever.
I don't know about that, but the title.
So
You
there
know
is
what
some,
Raymond Carver said?
what?
Old Raymond Carver said the story is the house and the title is the roof. So I always clung to that, though I'm not sure exactly what he meant, but
I had to
I like
like,
to repeat it because it sounds wise.
I had to pause and put the visual in my mind.
Of course
I,
you do.
s-
Yeah.
I see that though. It works. Um, Something really kind of serendipitous happened after I asked you to go live with me the other day and we scheduled this. I went to a meeting with Playgirl.
My alma mater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, because I'm going to write an advice column for them.
Wow, you're following in the footsteps of John Andrews, my alter ego from
Okay,
150 years ago.
so I know about this because I brought it up in the meeting. I was like, wait, I think Jerry Stahl used to write for you guys. Obviously, there's new owners. It's the whole
Before any
new.
of these people were ever born. Most
No, they were born. They were born. They're older. Um, and the guy who's sort of like, I guess he's in charge of the archives, he found several of your articles and scanned
you got to
them
send them to me. I got to put them in this book.
and sent them to me. I'm going to send them to you. But
How mortifying are they?
no, they're
How genetically
amazing.
mortifying.
They're
Yeah,
amazing.
I was
His
in great shape when I was writing those.
his turn. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, you're shaming me to my toes here. Wow. Well, every writer has a few gigs to stay alive. That's just how it goes.
No, they're really good. They're amazing. But it's so
Questions
crazy.
are the answers.
The whole thing is amazing. So it's not even questions. Should I read a little bit?
If you feel anybody needs some advice
Okay.
from
We
a gout out of his mind, like 30-year-old, sure, why not?
His Turn by John Andrews.
That's right. They gave me the name. I did not.
Really? Okay. We hear a lot about the new morality, our newfound freedom to enjoy any and all pleasures the
You're
flesh has to
killing me.
offer.
Stop right there. You're killing me. I can't. I can't. I'm having a coughing fit just hearing this.
How crazy is that timing, though?
It's alarming. But enough about me. What are you going to be doing for them? We don't need to hear my advice from 1927. But
I'm writing advice.
you're writing advice.
Yes,
So
I'm
you're
doing
using
it.
your own name, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or are you going with John Andrews?
I'm gonna be John Andrews by Holly Solom.
There you go. Yeah.
No, I don't have a title. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I am using my own name.
Are you? Do you have some topics? How'd they happen to come to you? You must.
People are people are going to write in to me.
No, but I mean, how did they happen to pick you of all the writers in the world to do this?
All the writers in the world. I actually sent them an essay that was
Okay.
like too edgy for everyone else,
Hmm.
called Do Men Owe Us?
It was too edgy, but you
Yeah,
know, when I think edgy, I think Playgirl.
exactly. And they were super into it and
Hmm.
said they wanted to publish it. And then they were like, we should do something else together because our
Oh,
brands make sense. And
yeah, that makes sense. You have a brand.
yeah, the whole anthropology thing and
Yeah,
so
really happy for you. That's great. It's a real
thank
feather in your
you.
cap.
Yeah, it's a feather in my
You
cap.
know, my problem when I think I told you this, and it's in this book. Whenever I cashed the check in the bank in the lobby of the building, I'd cash my Playgirl check, and they would just look at me, this like guy with green teeth, all like stuffed up. My skin's the color of like, lime jello, frog skin. And they just looked me up and down like, why is Playgirl paying this fucking geek, $400? But I
That's
just,
a
I just
and funny enough,
kept them
they
guessing.
pay they pay about the same today.
Really? Oh, I'm so sorry I gave that up. Well, but that's dollars worth so much more now.
It's great though. I'm very excited. How did you start do writing for them?
That's a very good question. I don't quite remember how that landed in my lap.
And you were
I
30?
mean, I think I was, Jesus, I don't know. That was back when I was writing for Hustler, but as a
Yeah,
humor. But I
right.
got fired immediately. So I don't know. I really don't know. That is a
In-
very good question.
Interesting. We'll never
I,
know.
yeah, I guess I had some pull there. I'm not sure why.
Yeah,
Maybe I bumped into somebody in an elevator
right.
when I was going up to Club International to turn in my X-rated story.
I mean, I guess once you're kind of in the
Sure.
sex writing world, it just opens
Well,
the
I used
doors
to write
open.
fake sex letters for Penthouse Forum.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to brag here. I'm not looking to, pad my resume in front of the world. But dear Penthouse, my girlfriend's into scars, that kind of stuff.
Oh. Was that
And
the one that you would
doing
just
things in public, and whenever we go shopping at Macy's, she drags, it was pretty lame.
was that people writing in or you were just making
No,
this up?
I would write the question on one side of my desk, then I would get up and scurry to the other side of my desk and write the answer. And that was before computers, which is hard to
Uh-huh.
believe, I know. And then I would have to hop on the subway or no, go downtown to their offices,
Mm-hmm. And hand them a physical
hand them my
thing.
physical bounty for that month. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Uh,
people get MFAs from Iowa. They get the prestige.
yeah.
I was more of I kind of apprenticed at a variety of jobs. I was I clawed my way up the ladder from penthouse sex letters all the way to advice letters at Playgirl. So it all worked out.
I mean, same.
You can't argue with success.
I didn't even finish high school. So
There
here
you
I
go.
am
You're
now.
the one downing me. Look at that. Okay. All right. Why didn't you finish high school? You
Because
wrote a book?
my life fell apart. Like my mom left. My dad was not really present. Like
What was his
everyone,
story? What was your old man story?
he's in a band.
Let's
He's
get
in
to the bottom of it. What band?
the Rembrandts.
He was in the Rembrandts?
Yeah, the Friends theme song.
He
He
must have
so
had money forever if he wrote the Friends theme song.
so that's actually not the case,
Huh.
uh, which is why I now am very set on always owning my IP.
Yes.
Yeah, because it
What does that
wasn't,
stand for again?
huh?
What does that stand for again?
My intellectual property.
Ah, I don't think
Yes.
I have any, but if I did, I would want to own it.
I'm sure you own some of your
Oh,
intellectual
like old books
property.
and shit. Okay, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. What How's your Substack going?
Okay. it's you know, every 6 weeks I squeeze one out,
Are you going to do a serial something
I
for
am, but I
us?
have to find out with the people who are publishing the book if that's a kosher move now that it's actually coming out somewhere.
Right. I mean, I
I'd
do
like to.
know.
It's trickier than I thought it was going to be. It involves some math, which I'm not good at, like how many words, because you don't want to give them a giant chunk O fiction and then people just nod off about 2 pages in.
Yeah, I know. I try to keep everything on Substack as short as possible, but
You got to keep it. Yeah. Well, yours are
yeah.
great. You also got the anthropology thing.
Well, that's like a
Does
whole
everybody know
other
about
thing.
this who's watching you? Do they know about anthropology?
I don't know. I
It's
think
pretty cool. I mean, how
it's
would you describe it?
well, it's hitting millions on TikTok.
Look at
So
you. Look at that. Wow.
yeah, in the TikTok
Great.
world, I'm famous. I made it. But
Where else is there?
over here, I don't know. I don't know if people are hip
Well,
to it
how can you
yet.
monetize your TikTok thing?
Oh, TikTok is monetized. Like
So you're doing good. You're living off this.
TikTok is good. TikTok pays.
Fantastic. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus I'm shooting it for like I work with a media company. So they
Hmm.
sort of like handle all the business stuff and the brand deals and take care of everything. They pay me to do the show. So it's great.
You are cooking with gas, as my grandmother used to say.
It's right. Cooking with gasoline. Yeah, anthropology is fun and crazy and kind of scary, but I think it's like
Do you want to tell people what it is? I mean, because it's a very specific, interesting kind of, man on the street thing.
I
Literal.
talk
Man on the street.
yeah, I talk to men about being men. So I run up to men on the street with a tiny microphone and I say, "Hi, just asking men, why are you like this?"
And that's the voice you use?
Yeah.
That I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they react.
I have to say, as not giving you a plug or anything here, but it's pretty fucking entertaining.
Oh, good.
One of
Thank
you asked
you.
guys if they could bench press you. They're just crossing boundaries right and left. That was really interesting.
Yeah, I try to find, something about them that's like manly, like
But
obvious
you
that
get these guys, the genius of what you do is you catch that sweet spot in men where they really want to impress you, or they try to be really clever and cool and manly. And it's just wow.
they
Kind of
either
genius. But
they either
if
want
nobody had seen it, I recommend it. It's kind of genius and it's really funny.
to Thanks, Jerry.
Really good.
Yeah, they either want to impress me or kill me. Some
Not
of
that big dish sometimes.
or yeah, some of them. Oh, Matt Starr is saying, "What does Jerry think about men?"
I don't think about men a whole hell of a lot, I look at it this way. Here we are, we're men, and if somebody walks up to us on the street with a tiny microphone and sticks it in our face and asks us questions about how manly we are, we have a choice at that moment how much we want to expose. I like to play it close to the vest. I don't like to give up a lot about myself.
What would you say if I said, "What's the manliest thing about you?"
I would say, talk to my lawyer. Well, immediately.
Can I have your lawyer's number, please?
Sure. I'll give that to you after the show.
Okay, I will interview your lawyer next. So, like, what is your oh, wait, one other question. Do you believe in manifestation?
I'm sorry. Well,
Man,
is that a pun? Like man infestation?
yeah.
I don't,
Do you manifest?
accidentally, I think. I'm not sure what manifesting is. This part of the secret? Am I missing a code here? Is that a word I should know?
It's
Manifest.
yeah, it's a word of the current times. It's in the zeitgeist.
Is it in the zeitgeist?
Yeah.
Well, probably why I don't know it. So explain to me the concept. Do I visualize and make manifest my dreams?
Yeah.
of
Or like,
abundance.
do you write them down and then they come true?
I write them down, then I burn them,
Hmm.
then I grind them into powder, then I mix them in a spoon,
Hmm.
then I inject my dreams.
And then they happen.
No, but it's just maybe, maybe.
Guess we're,
How do you do it? How do you do your manifestations?
I write things down.
Hmm. All kidding
uh,
aside, for those in the audience who want to learn how to do this.
Like truly, like I truly write very specific things down that I want to happen.
Hmm.
And then they do.
Wow, it's always worked.
Always. You know what it is? It's the power of intention and it's really believing it.
Sure.
It's like I, in my core, have like a belief that I can make anything happen.
You know, I'm trying to think. I have a friend, Larry Charles, who's a great comedy writer, who has a great new book out called Comedy Samurai, if anybody's looking to read a book. But he directed Borat, and I remember him telling me we were working on something million years ago, and he said, I just visualized this thing happening. I just saw it, and the intensity with which he told that story, like I totally got it. It's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Is like having like an intensity about it, like putting like a bunch of emotion behind it. And it seems like when I really love something, it
Hmm.
comes to me. I mean, I love your
That's very
writing,
impressive.
and here you are.
I don't even know how it happened. I got wished into this conversation.
Yeah,
I was made manifest.
I manifested you.
That's
Whoosh!
right. One minute I'm just sitting there staring out the window. The next I'm in a chair
Who
2 feet
knows?
away. Yeah.
Uh, Yeah,
Teleported.
it's
No,
magic.
but it's very cool. And you know, I mean, for my threes of fans who follow me on Substack, I'm happy to have this out there too. So thanks.
Yeah, no, this is
Tens of
so
fans.
fun.
Yeah.
Yep. Now we can both get more fans. Do you like, do you ever feel famous? Do you feel like an icon?
No.
Never.
What would I mean? No.
Even when you like Permanent Midnight was like massive. And did you ever have like a moment where you felt that inside?
Well, it's always the way it manifested for me. I can't stop saying that word now. Is that aside from all the cash and prizes and all that bullshit from back then, the interesting thing is when complete strangers come up to you, and because it was that kind of book where you said the unsayable, which is my favorite kind of book anyway.
Yeah.
People would total strangers, like you'd be doing some show, and the cameraman would come up and say, I have this brother who's like in a motel room right now, like doing X, Y, and Z. And, people would just tell you, or, I used to be strong, I sold my grandmother's, slip, whatever the fuck it is. And, and I got to say, all corniness and snark aside, it's a hell of a fucking privilege because you get to hear people's most private thing and they feel like they can tell you these things. But I don't know if that's from being an icon or from being a leper because you're sort of outside, you're such an outsider when you talk about yourself in a certain way that people feel you're like beyond the pale. You're the other. So they can tell you because you're not in their tribe. So they
Yeah.
tell you anything. It's sort of like you're on a plane that's going down. They figure they can tell you anyway.
You're an iconic leper.
Title of my new book.
um, how did you like become able to say the unsayable? Like, where did that come from? Like, I know where that came from for me because I too write things that it's like shocking what I just put out there. But I wonder how that started for you.
Well, before that book, since you asked, it's not something I run around honking on, but I had 6 unpublished novels. Some of them would be short stories, maybe in Playboy or in some little literary magazine or anthology. And, the first chapters or whatever. And I couldn't get them published. And then finally, one thing led to another. I sort of staggered into TV, slept my way to the middle, got a little, just fucked it all up. And I had absolutely nothing. And I realized somebody asked me to write. I bumped into somebody in Hollywood Boulevard. I'll give you the real short version. They said, "What the fuck happened to you?" Somebody I knew when I worked at Belly Magazine. And I guess I looked like shit, aforementioned green and sucked up and 40 pounds lighter. And I told him, I said, "You should write about it." So I started to write about it. And I realized all my life I used language to hide the truth,
Hmm.
you know? And I would tell stories and write this cool shit and funny shit. But the last thing I wanted to do was reveal anything true. And I was so beaten down and so shattered and stripped bare that when I started to write, it just fucking poured out. And I wasn't trying to look cool. I just wanted to get it out. You know what I mean? And I hope this doesn't sound melodramatic, but you asked. And so it just poured out. And so at that point, I wasn't trying to write particularly well. I was just trying to get it out. And so, sort of in spite of myself, I got so beaten down that I wasn't trying to look good or sound good or be smart. And that's how it all came out. It wasn't like a conscious decision. It was more like, if I don't do this, I'm going to die. And
Yeah.
that happens.
Honestly, that's exactly how it was for me too. Like it came from just pure desperation
Mhm.
and being at the total end of my rope and being like, I have nothing to lose. I'm just gonna it has to just come out.
Mhm.
And then, it was like terrifying and I certainly wasn't making myself look good.
Mhm.
Um and yeah, that's the thing that people resonated with.
Yeah, it's interesting, but have you found since then that you had to kind of recreate that state of desperation in order to write? Can you write without being completely at the end of your fucking, the end of the stick?
Um,
Can you
I
be happy and content or are you not wired that way?
I can be happy and content
Well,
and
we can still be friends.
still
And,
and still write my inner truth, which is pretty like tumultuous and fucked up and crazy. Or even if it's just like weird, like I'll still just put it out there. I mean, I definitely, for writing my book, my memoir, which I'm
Mhm.
still in the process of, I have to kind of put myself back where I was,
That's
which
right.
is awful.
Tricky, right?
Yeah.
You got to like stare as far into the abyss as you can without falling in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like your
You don't
physical
know if you're going to make it
body
back.
doesn't really know the difference. Like it kind of thinks you're still there. Uh
Sorry about that. Yes.
oh.
Oh, did I disappear?
Where are you? Oh, there you
I'm back.
are. Yay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I'm just like writing my weekly Substack, I it's all over the place. But I write every day, whether I'm happy or sad or whatever. Like I just do it. I just sit and
Yeah.
write. Do you write every day?
Sure. Yeah. I had this guy that I idolized coming up, this New York writer named Bruce J. Friedman. Wrote a bunch of novels, plays, movies. And I interviewed him once, I asked him about, I was like 19 or 20 or something. I asked about writing. He said, when you write a sentence that makes you squirm, keep going. And that really stayed with me. Decades later, I thought, was he fucking with me? But then I realized, you know, I've squirmed my way through like years and years and years of like, you got to make it hot for yourself. And
Yeah. You
so,
actually told me
yeah,
that when I was first
am I
working on
repeating
my
myself? Did I
memoir.
already tell you that? Yeah.
Well, you
See?
told me, but you haven't told the audience, but that stuck
Well, I
with
didn't
me
have an audience.
too.
Yeah.
It stuck with me. And it's like, yeah, every time I sit down to write, I think of that now every time. I'm like, ooh, I have to like divulge a secret or like, what's the point?
There you go.
I have
Yeah.
to say something kind of like icky.
Well, that's the thing. It's like every book is a kind of triumph, but right. I mean, but it's also the moment of your highest triumph contains the seed of your most mortifying moment. Like if you don't put that sacrificial thing in there, like, oh my God, I can't believe I fucking said that. or just put something in there that is a bit of a squirm.
Yeah.
I don't want to say cringe because cringe is different from squirm.
What is the difference between cringe and squirm?
Cringe and quim. Cringe, I think cringe is just creepy and embarrassing.
Uh-huh.
It's just more like you're trying to be something. I don't know. It's like
Oh
porn. I
yeah.
know cringe, like the Supreme Court said. I know cringe when I see it. You know, um, but squirm is like, wow, that's the shit people can relate to.
Right.
Cringe is like the stuff people like recoil from.
Cringe is like trying too hard to
Well,
be
like
like
JD Vance is cringe. Like
oh,
JD Vance making a joke. God bless him. He's just cringe.
he's
Those
so
guys trying to be
cringe.
cool, or Trump dancing. It's like, oh my God. I mean, hey, hats off. When I'm that age and I'm diapered up, if I'm fucking doing a cha-cha in front of a room full of people, then hats off for me. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but if I do, you know, that'll be something. But
I
that'll be cringe. It won't
yeah.
be, well, actually it'll be squirm too.
It'll
But
be squirm and cringe. I don't know.
yeah,
You're just
the
more
squinge.
you're more squirm than cringe. Like I don't know if you could ever be
Nicest
that
thing anyone's ever said to
cringe.
me. Thank you.
You're welcome. You deserve it.
It's the little things. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So like what is your process? I don't know if this is like the most boring stupid question that you hate, but like yeah, do you have like a daily thing? Do you like wake up and meditate and write or like what do you do?
I always invent a day like I've never been here before. Uh, just kind of dive in and try to get physical. And then, you try to create a day that reaches a point of such discomfort that the only relief is writing. So again, make it hot for yourself. It's relief. Writing is relief from reality for me.
Mhm.
That
Same.
sounds really sad, but
Well,
nevertheless, it's kind of true.
it's the only
I
place
have a
where you
hard time
can
writing when I feel great, but since I don't
yeah.
often feel great, not that big of a problem.
I mean, it's the only place where you can control everything
Can you control it though?
in
Didn't
writing.
you ever write something like, "Holy shit, I don't remember writing that." You don't ever just kind of zone out and come back and you're still
No,
typing.
I do. I don't think when I'm writing. I just am like blah, 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 and
Yeah,
then
just got to get out of the
so
way.
you're right. Maybe I can't control it. But I get it. Like I do the same thing. Like I bleach the toilet and then I'm so miserable I
That's the
have
same.
to
That's the
write.
same thing. Did I say I bleached the toilet? I don't even know what that is. That code? What does that mean?
No, I go through my day and I'm like I do all these things that I
Oh,
like
I
don't
see.
want to do.
That's
And
me.
then,
I was just doing some seat bleaching before we checked in. Yeah,
seat bleaching.
that's what we call it. Bleaching the toilet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't want to get graphic and say the T word.
Don't say the T word. Not here. That
Not here.
word needs
Safe
to be
space.
reserved
Safe
for the
space.
page. Save
Yeah.
it for the page.
So how many of
So
these live things have you done?
just you and me,
Oh boy.
Jerry.
Oh boy. Look at this. Okay. Well, I'm
That's it.
honored.
You're the only person I wanted to talk
The
to.
Playgirl advice. I'm passing the baton all these years later.
Yeah, that's what it is. You're passing the baton. Thank you.
The Playgirl baton, as I like to think of it.
There would be no Holly at Playgirl if there was no John Andrews.
Whatever happened to him?
I'm
I
gonna.
remember reading I'd like. I didn't really want to read them after, but I'd pick one up and I just look at this. I think I don't know who that guy is, but I just want to punch him in the fucking face. After I would read these things, but
I
I
love
don't know how they
them.
hold up. But
I love them. I'm gonna send them to you. I won't read aloud anymore. Don't worry.
I mean, you can. I mean, it's hilarious, but you know
It might be. It's
that might be cringe.
squirm. It's
That might be
squinge.
cringe. Yeah,
It's squinge. It's not full cringe.
yeah, it's a squinge.
Yeah. So, what are you doing with the rest of your day?
Working. I'm working.
What are you working on today?
Uh, I am trying to bang out another book.
Another other book.
Why not? You
Are
know,
you going to give us
you reach my
any?
age, man, you just feel that, you feel those steps behind you. So I'm just writing as fast as I can.
Well, that's so exciting. Can you give us anything, any information about it?
God no. I find that talking about a book while you're writing it, um, it's like a pregnant woman ripping out a fetus and say, it's like, yeah, look, it's very pretty, and then trying to shove it back. You can't. Once you start talking about it and exposing it to air, not the world's most felicitous uh,
Yeah.
metaphor, but
It's
once you
kind of
start talking
cursed.
about it, I think it ruins it. Because
Yeah.
somebody can say one thing, or suddenly you see it, just like, just got to do.
Yeah.
Does that
That's
make any
why
sense?
it makes perfect sense. That's why I'm not talking about the thing I'm
Yeah, and there I
writing,
go.
my secret thing.
Yeah.
Except for saying it's a secret because no one knows.
Yeah, well, I mean, your publisher, your agency must be all excited. I mean, your TikTok success, because I remember with this last book, I was trying to put out, all they wanted to know is like, how many followers I had. And when I told them like 17, they were not, nobody was impressed. Didn't
Well,
open doors for me.
everybody needs to
After
go
today, I mean,
follow Jerry. Yeah, you're
I'll
going to
be,
blow up.
yeah, I might get my usually triple figures.
You're going to go viral.
Sure. That's virus, one or the other.
I
Yeah.
mean, you've been viral before there was viral in all the ways. You were on Oprah.
Yes, I was on Oprah.
Yeah.
Those
I'm
are the
very
days.
I'm very impressed by that because I love Oprah.
Well, there was that special moment I know you're angling for, when she leaned over during the commercial break. I've tried crack. And, you just suddenly commercial breaks over and there you are.
Did you have a chance to respond?
No, it was like a commercial thing. I didn't want to, I'll talk about it now, but I was a little in shock. I was in shock the whole time,
Yeah.
but
Do you remember what she smelled like?
minty.
Oh, okay.
She was very minty, very nice,
Yeah.
very refreshing. It wasn't a perfumey scent. It was a refreshing scent.
It was like she did brush her teeth just before or
Well, I mean, it wasn't like one of those little pine things that hang in an Uber. It wasn't like that. Yeah, I guess it was mouthwashy, but that sounds cheap. She just sounded like she sounded and smelled very just just pleasant.
did she hug
Pleasant.
you?
I don't remember. I mean, we didn't, there was no. It was a theme show when smart people do dumb things, which I didn't find out until I got there. So I had just, my heart sank. I thought it was like a show about me, but of course it wasn't. It was a show about, when smart people do dumb things.
Right. Well, you're a smart person
Who did some dumb thing?
who's done some
A
dumb
dumb
things,
enough
but
thing
aren't
to
we
get on
all?
Oprah.
Yeah. I hope I've done some dumb enough shit to get on Oprah.
Well, you got to write about something. Is she still have a show?
I don't know. She like when I was getting sober, Super Soul Sunday, her podcast about like woo woo stuff was my everything. That's like all I listened to was Super
Okay.
Soul Sunday. And so I think that's where my real attachment to Oprah comes from.
Tell me about. I don't know that show. Tell me about it.
Oh God, it's great. She talks to all these like spiritual people that write like self-help books, and it's all very, new agey.
I've written about a lot of those cats over the years. Trance channelers,
Yeah.
the people. Remember all those like Ramtha, people like that. It's probably before your time.
How do you feel about those people?
Hey, if they help somebody, one of them told me in a past life, I was a bad poet on Atlantis. I was such a bad poet that I destroyed the civilization because
The
nobody ever wants to be told they were like a janitor in like Venice. You always have to be, oh,
yeah.
you were a pharaoh. You were the worst poet in the history of Atlantis and destroyed the civilization
The worst
with
one.
your shitty verse.
I was told that I was like a circus performer who would like walk on tightropes, and that in my past life, my show of courage was very like physical and out, like in
Well,
the
that's very flattering.
world in a physical way. And then
Yeah,
now my courage comes from within and
very
sharing
nice.
these
Mhm.
stories. I liked it. I liked that particular
No, that's
psychic.
beautiful. I mean, I'm a little jealous. It's better than being like a crapola poet. I mean,
But at least you
uh,
made such a difference as a poet.
I sank the island single-handedly with
I
my verse.
mean, that's impressive.
Apparently. Yeah,
I would rather be the worst than be ignored.
sure. Rain in hell and serve in heaven. I
Yeah.
understand. Well, there is that. And listen, another one told me I had a hole in my aura, which was troubling.
How do you fix that?
I don't think I ever have. I think
Hmm.
that explains everything.
I don't know.
Maybe I've repaired it. I don't know.
I think you have. I think your aura is good now. I get a sense that your aura is whole, complete, wholeless.
Yeah, those were weird gigs. You know, I used to just write about the weirdest shit I could find, and then singles nude retreats in Topanga. I did one of those.
Oh, did you attend?
I did. I got. They had a rebirthing ceremony where you got passed around from person to person and suckled. And I just kind of like, I think I was on, I don't know, whatever drug, Quaaludes, whatever. And I sort of realized I'm being like suckled by Herb from Reseda, who's got
What?
these hairy man paps, who's just like snuggling me and passing me on. And it was, it was no joke, man.
Wait. Can you tell me what suckled means? Like, what? Can you be more
Well,
specific?
you were being rebirthed, so they mimicked as if you were suckling at your mother's breast. So not just me, we were all passed along from one to the other, But I was first, and I was horrified. And you're completely nude, you're buoyant in the water, and you're being passed. And next thing I know, there's some like hairy-chested, guy who sold like real estate, in
So,
Reseda.
was he like
And Bernie
suck,
or Herb or something. Yeah,
sucking
and I'm like,
on your
I'm
nipple?
like getting like rug burn from his fucking chest hair. It was horrifying.
Are you
But
sucking on his nipple?
I didn't suck. I didn't suck. There was no sucking. Let's not go crazy. Now that would be cringe, but it would also arguably be squirm.
Squinch. It's squinch.
Yeah,
We
squid.
invented a whole new genre.
Well, that's when we do. Yeah, when we start that podcast together.
Maybe this is the
Squinge tape.
podcast. I
The
saw
squinge tapes.
Matt
Yeah.
Starr wrote we should do this every Friday.
Sure. Happy to. What else am I doing?
Yeah.
1 o'clock on a Friday.
All right. Well, maybe, yeah,
I mean, if
let's
you're gonna
make
sit
this a
around
thing.
squinging, you might as well make a nickel doing it.
Let's do it.
Thank you for these great questions. I don't know how long we go. I'm happy to keep rolling.
I mean, we can do whatever we want.
Is anybody watching? I don't know how this works.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people here. Actually, there's more people than I thought. I was like, what if no one comes to our live? I'm going to
Well,
feel like
that's nice.
such a
Well,
loser.
this story, by the way, all these stories, like about the suckling and the rebirthing and the bad poet in Atlantis, all these stories will be in this crazy click. It's all my old journalism from all these defunct magazines and magazines that are actually still funked and around. And it's some wild shit.
Wait, when is this coming out? Does this have a
It's going to
publisher?
come out. I just turned it in. It's like 9 bazillion pages. It's still a little boutique, as they say. Is it boutique or boutique?
Boutique.
I sound like I'm in the fucking Beverly Hills. I'm like Jethro Bodine here.
Yeah.
Jethro Boutique. Anyway, it's coming out, and I don't know. I just turned it in, so it'll be forever, I'm sure. But
Oh my God, exciting. I'm going to send you these Playgirl scans
oh, I can't wait.
and you
We're adding
can
them to the mix immediately.
slide them in there. Get them in there quick.
Yeah, because I can't find any of the old penthouse
I, c-
offering.
I cannot believe these landed in my lap like 2 days before I'm talking to
How did
you.
they give them to you? That you just asked for them and they found them?
I was like in a meeting with
Had a
them.
researcher like doggedly, making it her mission in life to find these, and she just couldn't get them.
I manifested them.
You, I'm sold now. All right, you did. Thank
Anything you
you.
need. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm your genie.
Okay.
Yeah, just let
All
me
right.
know.
Thank you. All
I
right.
got I got you covered. Yeah, I don't know. It was really fucking weird. I just was in this meeting with Playgirl and I remembered you telling me something
Mm.
about Playgirl. I was like, did I make that up? So I asked them if they knew because the guy who does the archives has like, he said he remembers
I
everything
love
from
that he
every
was at the
issue.
meeting. The archivist came to your meeting.
I mean, it's a pretty small operation they have.
Oh, it
So
is?
he's
Is
kind of
it
like a,
online? Is there an actual magazine still?
it's online. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's that.
Yeah. And he was like the head of production, but he also did the archives and he was very
Yeah.
cool. And then later that night, and yeah, anyway, backing up, I mentioned you because I was like, did Jerry Stahl write for Playgirl?
Mm.
And he went, boop, 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 looked it up. And he was like, yeah, under a pseudonym. And then later that night, he emailed me your scans.
Well, I hope they speak to you. That's all I can say.
They're very inspiring for my
Yeah.
own
A
writing.
little bit to offer, I suppose,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the man's perspective
Sure.
on.
I've always been fascinated by self-help books anyway. I think that's the funniest. I mean, look, they help people and God bless, but it's also, let's face it, can be accidentally amusing. And I was happy to put on my helpful hat.
So, do you have any self-help books that you actually liked in a
Uh,
non-ironic way?
I'm sure that I always liked Alan Watts. I like Buddhist
Mhm.
books, but I can't seem to read a spiritual tract all the way through. But I have friends who are Buddhists who will send me. It's like not going to a shrink, but standing next to one at a party, so you can
Mhm.
pick up a couple nuggets.
Yeah.
It's like I have friends who will send me a great writer named Jonathan Ames, who also has
I know Jonathan.
Jonathan Ames, the
Yeah.
greatest. He has a book called Karma Doll and The Wheel of Doll, and his great detective series about Happy Doll. The guy's somebody you should read, but he's a Buddhist, and he always sends me little selections. He's a much more practicing Buddhist, and he sends me little inspiring selections that help. Well, now you're frozen, so I guess that's it. Well, over and out. It's great talking to you, and I hope this helped all of you in the audience.